life is tough enough without going through it with your chin hanging on the floor. You want people that are going to lighten the mood, make you feel good about yourself, give you possibility thinking. It's a great world. You're here on this journey. You might as well enjoy it, because there's a day when you will no longer be here. So you might as well enjoy it till the day comes. Why would I want to live 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years as if life ain't worth living? It's great. Get involved.
For episode 29, my guest is Kriss Akabusi, who I met on a political system reform campaign in 2011. Kriss rose to fame on the athletics track, where his greatest individual triumph was winning the gold medal in the 1990 European Championships. Kriss won 3 Olympic medals, as well as World, European and Commonwealth titles. After his retirement from athletics, he had a successful career as a TV personality, presenting Record Breakers and Channel 4's Big Breakfast, amongst others. Kriss now works as a coach and motivational speaker. As you know, this show is listener supported. Well, at least that's our dream. We still have a way to go, and so every one of you that makes a monthly donation really helps. Thank you to our latest patrons, Amy Daniel, Mark at Vertical Veg, Petronella Tyson, Jess Harvey and Georgia Wisby. I also want to say a massive thank you to our sound editor Jack Darville, who has been with us since episode 8, for the amazing work that he has done for the show at a low rate of pay. And thank you to Fiona Charleston for doing last week's and Mary Chan for this week's edit. At this stage, we need to be paying our team rates in line with other commercial projects so that we're not so stretched on the back end here. We are quite far away from having that budget, so if you've been moved by anything you've heard on the show in this episode or ever before, please do head to www.thefutureisbeautiful.co/community and make a donation. It can be anything from £1 a month upwards. For example, £15 a month is just the cost of a fair trade tea or coffee you might drink whilst listening to each episode. Your generosity really is the making of a beautiful future and will allow us to continue our work, treat our team as we wish to, sharing these stories and remaining advertising free. Apologies for any noise in the background of this interview. I went to Bedfordshire to record with Kriss where he lives, and he didn't want to do it at his home. Most of these interviews are done on my sofa or the guests, as we opt for a more casual setting to the studio, which we also don't have the budget for. He felt, because of Me Too and his public profile, that it was important not to have any meetings at his home unsupervised, and so we met at the golf course instead. As one allegation can take away a whole career's hard work. We did plan to discuss this during the interview, but we went in a different direction. It's interesting to note and see things from the perspective of a man in the public eye today. And now for the interview, after this. Welcome to The Future is Beautiful, with me, your host, Amisha Gadiali. On this show, we explore the weave between politics, spirituality, creativity, and sustainability. Every one of us has ideas and personal experiences to share that can lead us to a brighter future. Despite the challenges we face as a global community, or the pressures that we meet in our daily lives, when we stop and dare to dream, to ask ourselves the big questions and to share what we are already doing, we create the future that we wish to wake up for. That future is beautiful. I am delighted today to be joined by Kriss Akabusi. Lovely to see you, Kriss.
Yeah, lovely to see you again, Amisha. It's been a few years, but it's great to see you.
Thank you. I want to start by talking about human potential, because when I look at all of the things that you've achieved in your life, it's clear that you have made choices to find more and more of your potential, and a lot of us don't ever really get there in terms of winning a medal at the Olympics or something like that requires the level of determination and focus. And I wondered if you could share a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, it's an interesting place to start, human potential. So, I mean, really, my concept is that most of the people in the world, in fact, if not 100% of us, are thrown into this world without our say so. So you just wake up one day and you find yourself here. No warning, no consultation, no affirmation necessarily that I want to be here, dependent upon your mindset. You are just here. And the first thing you get is a smack round the bottom and you cry. And from that moment onwards begins your opportunity to make the most of the environment you find yourself in. And we've all got different stories as to what happened from that earliest moment. And maybe through our time together, we'll begin to look at some of my own experiences. But certainly if you rush forward 25 years, you'll find me then all of a sudden in the middle of the Olympic Games. It's 1984. I've been to school, I've left a children's home, I've joined the army, I've found an athletic talent. And really and truly, I just committed to myself to the life that was in front of me that day. I found that unlike any other time preceding this moment in 1980, I really enjoyed the physicality of the human experience, the physicality of each day and every day, honing and shaping and moulding and buffeting this thing called the body, the very physical three-dimensional thing that touches and moves and has its being in this world. And I found that if I just each day worked hard at shaping it, it performed better and better. And it was a joy to experience the body in full motion. And over the next 6, 8, 9 years, I was to get the very best out of the body that I've been given. It's not the greatest body in the world, but it's the one that I, the conscious I, have been given to experience the world and to compete against all the other people that are found in this world that I didn't ask to belong to. I woke up and I see other people and other people who've decided that they also want to get the most out of the physical entity we call the body. And so then we competed against each other and went to the Olympic Games, went to the World Championships, European Championships, etc., and got to the highest level. And it is phenomenal. It is a phenomenal experience to see what this body can do when it's sufficiently stressed, when the conditions are there, beginning and ends, rules and regulations, and all of us are trying to secrete ourselves through these rules and regulations and find out that I do it better than the majority of people on this earth at that moment in time.
Were you very physical as a child?
Yes, I would say that I got in touch with my physicality early on. What I wasn't was disciplined. So loads of energy, loads of enthusiasm, but I was never recognised as a great sportsman or anything like that. But certainly, yes, I mean, I lived in my body. I just decided from that sort of time that, yeah, this is what I wanted to do and have fun and enjoy it. And it was easy. It was an easy way to communicate with the world in my body. You know, some people can communicate with their minds or with their spirituality, but I found it very easy from the earliest age to communicate with my body. But I don't want to give the impression that I was any great shakes. I was an ordinary kid that played all sports, didn't make the first team in anything at school when it came to sports. Which just shows me as I went on later on in life how important the mind and the spirit and the emotions are to getting the best out of the body. I don't think you can get the best out of the body unless everything else is aligned and you are a unity, you are one. Literally everything comes together as one. And I think as I got the most out of my body, it was because I had actually begun to mould it all into one, and I was behind myself full square in the task that I had before me.
Mm-hmm. And did your time in the army help you to pull that together?
Yeah, no doubt that my time in the army gave me the discipline required. And I mean, the most important thing for me in the army was I wanted to belong. I actually made the choice to belong. I hadn't made the choice to belong to the world. I was just born in the world, and I didn't have a family to belong to as a youngster. And then at 16 and a half, when I joined the army, and I joined the army because I didn't feel I was capable or mature enough to take care of myself in the big world outside on my own. I wasn't mature enough, didn't have the expertise, didn't have the contacts or connections, didn't have a really identifiable community outside of the army. But when I joined the army, I had all those things. I had family, I had friends, I had community, I had rules, regulations, I had structure. I had strong male role models, which was very important to me at that time in my life. And that provided the discipline. Once I knew I wanted to belong, and I can remember the very first day we joined, as if it was today, and the troop sergeant had got 800 young men. We were all young men, they were all apprentices or junior signalmen, 16 and a half, and just said, there's 800 men on parade, but 400 of you are not good enough to be in this army. Mm-hmm. And my role is to weed out the guys that are not good enough to be here. And I remember saying, well, I'm going to show you that I'm good enough to be here. And I think, that sort of myopic focus, the real big goal of proving the test and standing the test and proving yourself was material for my success, to being disciplined, to using my ears, listening to what to do, finding out how I can be an asset in this organisation, really working hard to take on ferociously all the information. None of these things I'd learned at school. I was a clown at school. I wanted to make people laugh and be happy. And I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, but I didn't understand the rules at school. But I understood the rules in the army, and that's when I met my mentor, and that's when I met the guy who introduced me to track and field athletics, where all of a sudden I found a way of excelling above and beyond all the other recruits in the army initially, then to go and take on the inter services, and then go and represent my country.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. When you talk about belonging, do you feel like belonging is a choice?
You choose what tribe you belong to. Yeah, I do. I mean, of course, like everything else, there's a yin and a yang, there's a left and a right, there's an up and down. So how much choice do you really have when you think of the earliest moments in your life, when quite clearly as a baby you have no choice? You're always looking to your primary caregiver, most often the mother, but your primary caregiver to take care of you, to regulate your emotions, to soothe you, to choose for you, clothes on, clothes off, food in, food out, clean this, clean, So you have very little choice. You learn, you get inducted when you're very, very young. But certainly, as I got older, I had to choose myself what tribe I wanted to belong to, mm-hmm. and what that would look like. And I made some, when I look back now, laughable choices. Yeah, I can remember when I initially chose to be a West Indian, and my parents are from Africa, but I didn't know my parents, brought up in a children's home, and when I joined the army, I saw a lot of black guys, and they were all West Indians. So I tried to adopt the mannerisms that I was seeing with Jamaicans and Barbadians and Grenadians and Trinidadians, and I would try to pick up their lingua and the way that they spoke in their sort of patois, and I'd hear bits and bobs, and I tried to create this artifice, this artificial tribe that I belonged to, walk with a limp, flick my fingers, and all those sort of things. And that was a real choice that I was making. Only problem is it was false. It was quite evidently false because you scratched it a little bit deeper and you realised that there was no depth to it. So yes, for me, I do think we need to begin to choose the tribes that we want to belong to. I chose the army. I chose athletics. I've chosen United Kingdom, for example, because my parents are from Nigeria. And although I was born and bred in Nigeria, my heritage is Nigerian. I mean, I feel that I've chosen United Kingdom, but having said that, to contraindicate myself, I was inducted in British education from an early age, sat down in assembly, sung the national anthem, because that's what you used to do back in the day, sing the national anthem, all the hymns that were very patriotic hymns back in the day. I pledge to thee my country and all that sort of stuff. So quite clearly, I've got this. If I say indoctrination, I'm not saying that in a negative sense, but clearly we do get indoctrinated by the information that we're given at a very early age. So I would question how much choice I do have, but I've chosen to be United Kingdom. I've represented my country in all manners, and I know that I'm very, very British. I know that when I do go to Nigeria, the misconnect is because of my Eurocentric leanings and perceptions and the way that I see the world. But yeah, I've chosen the United Kingdom. I've chosen Western European thought to interrogate this world around you, and that's it. And all it is in the end is just it's a tool to interrogate the world around you, to have a look and to lift up and see what you see. And there's a limiting factor quite clearly, and there's an opportunity by the way you approach this world. But yeah, I do think we choose our tribes.
You talk about Nigeria. I remember interviewing you for the book, For the Future is Beautiful, and you telling the story, it's in the book, of you going to Nigeria and playing football and meeting your half-brother.
Yes.
And you thinking that he looked a lot younger, maybe half the age that he was. And the words that you said of, by an accident of birth, you'd been given a completely different set of opportunities.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's always stuck with me.
Yeah, it's just no doubt. I mean, Zimako's doing very well for himself, and my father got him into the immigration division. He's done very well for himself. But certainly, when I saw Zimako, and I've got a vivid picture of Zimako, I thought he was about 8. He was actually 14, 15, and looked like a little boy of 8 to me. And when you saw Zimako, you could see that malnutrition had stunted his growth and actually stunted his life chances. I mean, it was Zimako, and Zimako's just one of many, many children, but very sharp, very bright boy. And you can see that this guy would make something of himself. Well, he has made something of himself in his community. He's done very well, but he's fought very hard for that. He's scrapped for the bits. And he has had less choices than I've had in the Western world that I've been brought up in. I've had loads of opportunities. And I know that there will be lots of Afro-Caribbeans who will say, well, my choices are limited in the United Kingdom, and I don't get the opportunity, so that I feel due. It's not my story. I am amazed at the opportunities I've had in this country. And I've grabbed some, missed others, but certainly recognise that the experience that I've had today would have been very different if I'd been in Zimako's shoes. Highly unlikely that I would have had the experience in my body, physical body, where I recognise how fast I can run. I mean, I'm still a British record holder for the 400 hurdles. I mean, that's amazing to me. That 20 odd years has gone by. 25 years has gone by. I'm still the British record holder. this body that I was given, I would never have known that. I would never have known what could get out of this body if I was left in Nigeria. And hopefully I'll make more of my intellect as well. I don't know whether I would have known that in Nigeria. I would learn other things though. And that's the thing, is I'd learn other things that I can do that I've not been exposed to in the United Kingdom.
But even the life that you've had here, you have made choices along the way. And part of your story could have led to a man that fell through the cracks a bit in British society.
Yeah.
Can you share the story of how you ended up in children's homes?
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I mean, very, very clearly, I mean, the idea of sliding doors is a perennial idea of luck, default, design, and how life could have been if you'd gone through one door rather than the other. So my mother and father were students who came to Nigeria, came to the United Kingdom in the 50s, when after the Second World War, people were encouraged to come to the country to build the country. But my parents were from their social strata, were quite privileged in as much as they were some of the brighter cohorts, and they went to study, and they were supposed to come over here to study to understand United Kingdom the way that we worked over here, and then take it back to Nigeria and begin to build the nation. Because the 1st of October 1960, Nigeria got independence from the United Kingdom, so all the brightest people in the country went abroad to Canada or UK to learn and to prepare themselves for office. My mum and dad graduated early 60s, went back to Nigeria to start this, as all the people in the diaspora did. But there was a war in Nigeria in 1967, and the money that was coming to take care of me and my junior brother in private fostering, that dried up. Next thing I know, we were placed on the train. My father had a junior brother, so an uncle, took us from the foster parents because he couldn't afford to pay for us, put us on the train, and we were picked up by police in the train that entered into London and taken to the police station. And when people began to look around, was placed in a long... And I tell you what, I mean, one of the things that I'm really aware of now, I mean, even that story, how lucky that was, because we were placed under Islington Borough Council, and we were taken to the countryside, what was called a long stay home in the countryside, whereas there was some short stay homes in Islington Borough. Over the last sort of 10, 50 years, what's transpired is that some people infiltrated Islington Borough Council, and there was some very unsavoury things that happened to the children in the children's homes within Islington. I was out in the countryside, so nothing happened to me. I didn't get abused sexually or physically like that. So even that is just the way the cards fell, the doors you went through, and we was taken out to the countryside. I remember crying for my mum, like most children, you'd want your mum, and so I cried for my mum when I was 4 until I was 12. I realised my mum wasn't coming when I was 12, and up until 12, I cried and I sort of prayed or meditated and hoped that mum would come back for me. And I promised my mum that, if I'd done anything wrong, I'd be a really good boy. And I was really working hard at school. Because I do remember that my parents had inducted into me that I was the eldest child, there's myself and my junior brother, that I was the eldest child. And I had this responsibility to take care of him and to really study hard so that I could go back to Nigeria and have a very important position. Well, I remember when I was 12 and I realised my mum wasn't coming. And so I threw a little strop, so I wasn't going to cry anymore. I wasn't going to study anymore. Who did I want to be? How was I going to take care of myself? And that was the beginning of this languid, happy-go-lucky, play the clown, make people laugh type of guy. I decided then, okay, that was who I was going to be. I was going to really enjoy my life. There's no point worrying about other people. I was going to protect myself. I think that was the origin of me also being quite isolationist. You know, I do live on my own, and I like my own company, and I've got a public persona of being larger than life and being right out there, which is part of my character, but it's not the real me. Actually, I'm quite introverted, really, and I love living in the countryside, surrounded by 700 acres of parkland. Not that I own the parkland, but the house.
You enjoy it, though.
Yeah, I enjoy it, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, enjoy it. You know, and so I decided to come out and really be this big, large and life character. And, you know, large and life character has got me a long way. But at school, I was a pain in the bottom, flicking pellets at teachers, getting the cane, chucked out of class, everyone was laughing. I thought they were laughing with me. Ultimately, they were laughing at me because I was the guy who left school with 9 no levels. You know what I mean? So I was the guy who got 0 qualification. But, you know, it was, to be fair, it was the only way I could survive. The only way I could survive that, what I now see as a traumatic, well, I now understand it was a traumatic experience. I didn't see it as traumatic because my life just got on with it. Survived that trauma, was laughing at it. And now, one of my defense mechanisms, I laugh a lot. I laugh when I'm happy, sad, glad, bad, undecided, aha moments. I laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I laugh, and it's got me a long way. It's a distinctive laugh, deep belly laugh. But again, that's not unique. When I go to Nigeria and I see the people in Nigeria, everyone laughs like, yeah, they're all big old belly laughs. It's endemic inside the Nigerian spirit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I've just brought that to the UK. That everyone thinks, whoa, look at that unusual laugh. No, there's another 150 million people in Nigeria that laugh exactly like that, mate.
Yeah, but again, that got you a name for the laugh when you were a TV presenter. Yeah,
no, absolutely right. No, absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, even today, really, I've got to accept that GB PLC. And you know, they say this thing about it being Marmite, because there are some people go, oh gosh, Akabusi, it just gets on their nerves. I was once introduced on stage as Akabusi, the guy with the gregarious laugh, very hard to ignore, but well worth the effort. So, you know what I mean? But actually, you're always going to find people that don't resonate with you. But what I found is that generally, GB PLC resonate with my laugh. It's part of my brand, and it's given me so many opportunities, because life is tough enough without going through it with your chin hanging on the floor. Mm-hmm. You want people that are going to lighten the mood, make you feel good about yourself, give you possibility thinking. It's a great world. You're here on this journey. You might as well enjoy it, because there's a day when you will no longer be here. So you might as well enjoy it till the day comes. Why would I want to live 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years as if life ain't worth living? It's great. Get involved.
Nice. I laugh a lot, but I cry a lot too.
Do you?
Yeah, I think I laugh as much as I cry. I don't know. It's just that's an expression that happens.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What happens? How does it happen? How do you just sit there and you cry?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Tell me. Tell me what so you're sitting there and all of a sudden you just feel sad and you cry.
Maybe it builds, and I mean I will laugh a lot, as a release, and you know, some of my closest friends, you know, they enjoy that humour when things are kind of not going my way. That sometimes there'll be a lot of humour, but then sometimes it will store up and there'll just be like a big explosion of tears.
Is it like is it boo-hoo, or is it just trickle down your face, or is it deep in your gut?
I don't think it's like boo-hoo. I think that's quite a kind of media, like a media stereotypical movie laugh. I think it's, I think either it will be, you know, a gentle sort of trickling of tears, or it will be, you know, just a very deep,
is it sobbing?
Yeah, maybe.
And it's nothing particular, or are you sitting on something when that happens?
Sometimes it'll be because I'm sitting on something and I'm processing something, and I can't move it out of my body without tears.
Yeah. That's interesting. Do you enjoy that when you cry?
I've learnt to, because I think that if you don't learn to enjoy the way that your body wants to express itself, then you're creating more inner conflict. And actually, I mean, I don't know if it's a man-woman thing, but I do know a lot of other women that, you're at work and something happens and you just have to go into the toilet, just cry a little bit, and then it's okay.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's good to honour and enjoy the way that you express yourself.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a man-woman thing. I mean, I know men that cry. It's probably, I don't know how to express it, but I mean, I think there is that fluidity in that human being. It's obviously you're very much in touch with your emotions, I guess. I can't say I've never cried, no, but I don't know what it's like to cry like that.
Yeah.
I'd find it very hard. If I did, I'd want to know what's wrong. Something's had to. If I'm crying, something drastic has happened. Yeah. Something. I mean, I've got no doubt. Something is just. Something's really hit me, and
And sometimes my tears are personal, and sometimes they're more collective.
Okay.
Like something that's happening
in the world,
or around me, I will just feel it, and it's like I'm processing it.
Yeah. So it's not a sense of helplessness when you cry.
No.
Do you feel that when you cry that you're actually helping not just yourself but the world, or is it about helping you?
I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting. I mean, I wouldn't say that I've never cried in a helpless way in my life, but sure I have. I'm not sure about that kind of almost that spiritual language of like, I'm crying to heal the world. Like that feels a little bit egotistical somehow, that I might be able to process the world's pain through my tears. I think I cry sometimes because I find what's happening in the world.
Can you give an example?
Hurts me. Oh, an example would be so funny. Now they all have disappeared. I think sometimes if I'm in a situation where there's like a lot of very tense energies and a lot of feelings, that maybe after I've been in that environment, I will like discharge the energy through tears.
Okay. Or
maybe I will see like some destruction in the world, man-made destruction, and it will make me feel, it will hit sadness in me.
So if you see a disaster and you see 20 children trapped, for example, that football team that's trapped, that's outdated. If you saw 20 children trapped in a cave with, that would make you cry for them, would it? Or maybe not.
I mean, no, when I saw those 20 children trapped in a cave, I didn't feel sad. I felt really inspired that how are they still alive and how did they survive down there for so long, I don't know if there's a exact science to it.
No, but you just know that you have this ability to tap into your core and something just comes over you.
Yeah.
And you feel you need to express it by weeping.
Yeah. It's definitely like that, and it's definitely, it's hard to push them back in when they want to come.
Is there any connection with something outside? So you seem to say something about a connection with the community, I think it's, so it's not just isolated crime, but does it go no further than there's no spiritual dimension to it for you then? No.
Well, no, of course, Kriss. There's always a spiritual dimension.
I think it's called begging the question. Okay.
No. I mean, there's definitely always a spiritual and I mean, whether you call it spiritual or, I think we're all connected, and I definitely have found myself to be more open, like sometimes too open.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that I have to constantly work at.
Yeah.
to not be affected by what's happening around me so much. Yeah.
You stopped. You said definitely there's a spiritual connection, and you've stopped. You've not told me about a spiritual connection.
Yeah, I think because it's hard to put it into words, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think something bigger is always going on, and I've spent a lot of my time, especially since we first met, really kind of honing my spiritual connection.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's, I think I thought that might make me more robust. And I think in a way it has, but then in another way it's also made me more expressive.
Yeah. We definitely connected at a sort of subconscious level. I think that this journey that we're going on, and when you use the word spiritual, I mean, people have different definitions, but I do think there's something in the ether that unites us all. And hence when you, for example, in the Christian tradition, if they said that if you sin against somebody else, you sin against yourself, I do think, yes, in the three-dimensional physical body, we can see a separation, but actually, just like we can't see electricity through the air, there's something in all of us that connects all of us that is one and the same thing that's having this experience. And so I can, through something like that, understand that you may be able to, it's going to get a little bit woo-woo now, but to be able to vibrate at a different level that allows you to connect to the internal thing that is in all of us. You know what I mean? So you can live in temporality, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, June, February, March, April, whatever it is, I've gone the wrong way around, but you live in that, or you can, every now and again, touch something that most of us don't see in this three-dimensional world. And maybe, you through your spirit, you're able to connect with that, what I call zeitgeist, spirit of the age, that part of you is able to weep for somebody that's not connected to you, or a feeling that you feel in the community, and take it on for everybody else. It wouldn't, that wouldn't surprise me at all. It's cut off to me. I've not gone down there. It's cut off to me. But I can definitely understand that. I can definitely understand that we're able to vibrate at a level which is unseen to the naked eye.
Yeah.
That allows you to experience what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that is it. What you just explained.
There you go, really.
I don't know why I was being shy.
Yeah. Amisha, why was you being so shy?
It sounds less woo-woo when you say it.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd let you say it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, no, exactly. No, I can get that. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, often when people can say it's woo-woo because because you're talking about something that they do not know. That would be like me listening to a nuclear physicist and saying, "Oh yeah, that's woo-woo," because I don't understand it, or a world-class mathematician talking about all sorts of algebraic equations, thinking, "Yeah, that's woo-woo." But no, the fact is, if you've honed yourself to be in an arena where you do vibrate at that sort of level, nothing that doesn't faze me. I definitely recognise that. Yeah. There are people who have a complete different experience. Just like very few people in this world will know what it's like to hone the body to run like I ran in 1984 to 1993. I can talk to you, but you don't know what it's like. I tell you what, I will never forget 1990 European Championships semi-final, in particular the semi-final. And I remember warming up in it, and that was all very, very natural. When the gun went bang, I sprang out the blocks, and I'm going to tell you, I had an out-of-body experience running that day. And all of a sudden, it wasn't me running. And I remember thinking I was cheating because this magnificence came over me. Has all of a sudden my body, and I could feel my toes, feet, I could feel the sinews in my muscles all working. It was easy. I was tall. I was in rhythm. It was musical. And the ambience out there was in here and out there. I was one of the auditorium, coming round the bend, really big. And it was easy. It was easy. And I ran half a second faster than I've ever run before. And it was easy. Now, I in that experience, I was in a flow with the universe through my body that very few people experience. Even in the final where I ran a little bit quicker, I didn't click into that. And it was like a click, it was like as if I just stepped into something. It was a clicking into something. And it wasn't me. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't my day-to-day experience of me and my body. It was just, and I will never forget it. It was surreal. It was just otherworldly. Everything, I mean, it was like slow motion. It was just so poetical. Running was poetry. It was just so Moorish. It was so easy. It was just so easy. I knew everything. I could feel everything. It was just unbelievably easy. Unbelievable. It was just like, it was as if I was, in fact it was, I was watching me, be me, involved with everything, feeling me. I better stop there.
Beautiful experience.
Oh, it was one of a kind. It was really one of a kind. And so I do know there's more to this life. You know, I mean, I've lost a lot of my sort of preformed sort of Christian faith, as it were, but you know, I know there's more to this world. I know there's more to this life. There's more to our experiences, and there's different levels that you can. That was a vibration. Different levels you can vibrate at and experience the human journey. And I felt it through my body. I just not felt what you were talking about. I just don't know what it's like to be that emotionally connected, to be able to feel pain for somebody else. You know, unless it's, I mean, if it's, you know, it has to hit me like a number 9 bus for me to feel the pain for somebody else.
I mean, for me, it's a beautiful experience, and it also, it's quite distracting.
Yeah.
Because it's distracting, I guess, because you can't, it makes it harder to stay focused on like what I want to do.
Yeah, but why do you have to stay focused on what it is you have to do? I mean, if you're there, why would you want to be anywhere else than where you're at?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because again, it's easy to overlay some sort of prefabricated construct over how you are supposed to be, but where you're at is where you're supposed to be, and it's so unique because only you are supposed to be where you're at when you're there. So why would you want to be anywhere else?
Yeah, I agree, and it's also a constant journey, because I feel like the conditioning of the societal conditioning of where you're supposed to be, what it means to be successful, it's strong. And I know that a lot of our friends listening have that inner battle, that they're not enough, they're not doing enough, they're not contributing in a big enough way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, again, that depends very much, Amisha, on what you think the meaning of your life is and the purpose of your life is. Look, it's clearly we live in a beautiful world. It's all been constructed, and there are rules and regulations. You know, and I've been a sportsman, I've been a soldier. And if you do it this way, you're going to get rewarded. And, you know, we technology is going to reward you, and community is going to reward you, and you know, the economy is going to reward you. But that's if you want to live your life that way. But actually, maybe the universe, the world has got something different for you. My battle is to actually experience another dimension of myself. So, you know, and literally, as I said, you know, you're never in the wrong place. You are supposed to be where you are. And if you've got, you know, if you find yourself distracted and attracted, maybe we need to go with the distraction and the attraction, and to find out, you know, to become who you are. To continually become who you are. You know, I don't know why I was chucked into this universe, and I don't know why I'm going to be ripped out, or why I'm going to be ripped out of this world, because one day I will die. I don't know, but while I'm here, let me be here. Let me really engage with the here and now. The here and now as presented to me in the here and now. And you can lose a lot of the here and now by being distracted of how things ought to be, how things should be, trying to be something or be somewhere else. But the problem is, when you're trying to be somewhere else, where you are is moving on. I don't want to miss where I am, because where I am today is the only place. And when I say today, I mean the day I was talking about 2 minutes ago is not the day, the today here now. Be there, fully engaged with the here and now.
Yes.
Yes, fully engaged with the here and
it.
now. Yeah, fully engaged with the here and now. That's what you're here for. Because there's something, there's a gift, is we're always giving and transacting, and you don't know what that gift is that you're giving when you are fully present in the here and now. You don't know what that transaction is. You don't know what the transaction is for the person, or, dare I say, for the wider world around you. You don't know. You don't know. We don't know everything about this world. We don't know how the collective consciousness works. We don't know. We do not know. You know, we know a radio. You can tune into radio, and all of a sudden, I could tune into a radio here, and I can listen to waves that have been sent from London or anywhere around the world. I can listen to here. So, and I don't know this. But you don't know whether you have the capability to tune your waves into a greater wave somewhere else. We don't know. Some people say they do know. Who am I to gainsay someone who says, I do know and I'm actually there? Who am I to gainsay? So we don't know. We don't know what we are creating by our thoughts, by our words, and by our deeds at any one moment in time. All we do know is that we can connect fully in that moment and just be. Not do, be.
Beautiful.
Life is beautiful.
It is. So is the future.
So is the future, exactly.
With the work that you do now,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, kind of like coaching,
Yeah.
mentoring, speaking.
Yeah. Over the last 20, 25 years, I've earned my living as a professional speaker, mainly to the corporate world, talking about teamwork, goal setting, diversity, innovation, creativity. Where I am right now, though, is I'm currently studying existential psychotherapy, counselling and coaching. Because what I find is that when I do my speeches, if they move into a workshop environment is where you might go from 500 people to 20, 30 people and help them look at the strategy of the company and their own role in the strategy, and you know, what does it look like in the future, what are the things that get in the way, and what are their gift, skills, talent, and ability, in order to have more of the success and less of the things, what I call the wall of complexity, that gets in the way. And then what happens is that people say to me, Kriss, could I just have a few sessions with you just to help me think through whether I'm actually supposed to be here, doing what I'm doing? Now, I'm a qualified coach as a transitional coach. But what I've found is that my recent readings, which has taken me down a road of sort of existential philosophy, down people like Nietzsche Sartre, Heidegger. I decided that I wanted to pursue looking at that lens and see where that takes me, see where that road takes me. And I really like the idea of being qualified to help people look at the sort of the big pictures in life, their meta views, or what the Germans call the Weltanschauung, the way we look at the world, and help them understand, well, is there a disconnect in the way that I look at the world and the way that I am in the world? Because often a lot of our stresses can be the fact there's a disconnect in the way that we perceive the world and the way that we actually show up in the world each day and every day. And so that's the journey that I think that I'm on now the next 20 years, if I've got that amount of time. Because I'm 60 in November, and I realise that I've had a cracking life, I'm in great shape, no guarantees. Just like I was chucked into this world, I can be ripped out in a moment in time. And while I've got my faculties, and I've still got my faculties, and I've always wanted to go down this road, and even as a little boy, I remember asking the bigger questions in life. While I've got my faculties, I'm pursuing it. So I'm actually, at the moment, I'm going for a master's program in existential coaching, actually, to add that to my coaching practice. Mm-hmm. And then I would like to do a lot more work with the general public around finding themselves in this world, becoming who they are, creating their perfect themselves, facing head on the challenges that they find, looking at their gifts and talents that they've got within them. All of us have got a whole basket of skills. I'm not the kid in the children's home anymore. I'm not the clown that left school. I'm not the soldier that worked very hard to belong in a very transactional business. I'm not the athlete that got to the top of the world as an Olympian and the world champion. I'm not even really the businessman that started in the mid-30s, when I was 35, as a TV personality trying to build my brand. No, I'm not. I'm not that. I'm now a 60-year-old fella who's looking back on a life well lived and thinking, is that it? Is that it? Or is there more? And what is there more to experience in this body that I've got while I've got the chance over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, maybe 30 years? I haven't got much more than 30 years. And 60's gone like that. So I don't want to waste any more days, weeks, months or years.
Amazing. I mean, you might have a lot longer. There's a lot of technology, biology being developed.
But you know what, Amisha, I mean, I know a bit, but I'm not really bothered. Mm-hmm. Because my life has been beautiful, but it's also we're trapped in boxes, or everything's all structured and man-made. Now, when you shuffle off the mortal coil, you might have a nihilistic view and you fall into oblivion. Well, then who cares anyway? If I fall into oblivion, who cares? Mm-hmm. Or you may have some sort of transcendentalist view where you go on to a hereafter. Wherever, I love it, there's a guy called Epicurus. And Epicurus said, where I am, death is not. Where death is, I am not. And I like that idea, that when I am dead, the I that I know today is not here anymore. If I'm here, death is not here at the moment. And just like I was born in 1958, I only know 1957 and before then by reading books and listening to people who are around. I actually wasn't there. And I'm not scared that I wasn't there in 1957 or 47. So why should I be scared if I'm not there in 2057, 58? I'm not scared. It don't matter to me. It don't matter to me. When I step through that glass or step through that time frame continuum into this new era, new epoch, as I step up, if I'm conscious, I'll be a conscious aware in this new dispensation with the new body, new thought processes, new consciousness. I'll step up into it and I'll do whatever I've got to do then. And if I got out of darkness, I won't even know. It's just zero, blank screen, flat line. So what I do know is, while I'm here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, engage, enjoy, experience, transmit, be. That's it. Because this I know. I've known this for 60 years. I've known it and I want it and I want to experience it, but I don't need to hold on to it. Mm-hmm. You know, we die all the time. The athlete is dead. I talked to you about the athlete. He's gone. He don't exist anymore. He's a figment. He's gone. And I thank him because he got me to where I am today. Uh-huh. But he's gone. Now, that the athlete, when he died, I don't feel that he died. I don't feel his death. I don't know if I'm explaining myself.
I'm
but
with you.
He's gone. I don't feel the kid in the children's home, gone. Athlete, gone. Soldier, gone. TV personality, gone. I'm here with Amisha talking about the future is beautiful. And that's alive. That's alive. That's the here and now. That's alive. And who knows where we'll be in 100 years at a time. But we're here today.
Yes.
Tell me about your yoga retreats. Because I know you do your yoga retreats and you take people to India and...
Yeah, well, I just going to say, I wish that our audience could see you when you speak. Because there are some dance moves.
Yeah. No, I'm very, very physical. Very. Well, you know, one day, Amisha, I hope that the future is beautiful goes from podcasts and books to live presentations, and that one day I'll be on the stage with you and we'll be able to interact and ourselves and with the community that's around us.
That's part of the dream of the future is beautiful, to have live events, sort of almost festivals, and bring together amazing people that are on purpose doing beautiful things in the world, people that want to come and share what they're doing, be inspired. So
start small. If you want that, but start small. I mean, but just start. It's 2, 3, 4 people in your back garden. Start.
I don't have a back garden. I live on the 18th floor.
Okay. Right, okay. That might be a little more difficult then. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, no, and we will for sure.
I'm sure. No, I've got no doubt. I've got no doubt that you're on a very special journey, a very special person on a very special journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've got no doubt.
Well, I will tell you about the yoga retreats. So I guess yoga was my journey into my physicality. And yeah, I wasn't somebody that grew up very in my body. I've always been...
In your mind?
I don't even know if in my mind or somewhere else. One of those daydreamer kids that you have to kind of click your fingers in front of a little bit. Where are you?
Yeah. Come back. Yeah.
And so for me, yoga was a way of getting into my body.
Yeah.
Which has been a really beautiful journey through yoga and dancing. Yeah, India was not a huge part of my life growing up. I mean, in a way it is. My parents are Indian, they have a lot of Indian friends. We would have Diwali parties, things like that, but I didn't have a lot of Indian friends, and I had, a very English life.
Yeah.
So I don't speak Indian languages very well. And I think when I was younger, that part of me was quite cut off. I suppose I was choosing to belong in England.
Absolutely.
And my parents definitely encouraged that. They were like, you're here. So, I remember my dad even saying to me one day, well, you like Spanish. I mean, learn Spanish. Maybe that will be more useful for you. But as it happened, in the strange twists of fate that we can't plan, that as I got older, I found myself just getting more and more interested in India. And I feel like my mind is very English, but my heart feels very Indian.
Man, I know 100%. Absolutely, I feel that going. Keep going. Absolutely.
I feel a relaxedness in my being in India that I don't feel when I'm in England.
Can I ask, is it safe in India? Are you safe there?
I mean, no. I mean, India is one of the worst countries for really grotesque sexual assault.
Oh my gosh.
Delhi is horrendous. yeah, I mean, the cars, the roads, you know, it's nuts on the roads.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I think I'm probably less safe
Yeah.
in that sense,
Yeah.
in terms of like external dangers in the environment. But I feel more safe somehow. My heart and my soul feel more settled, more alive. Yeah. I think I enjoy the chaoticness of it. I find peace in the chaos. It's in India, which is interesting, and it's unexpected as well. That I didn't imagine when I was younger that I would be wanting to go to India every year. And I feel like going to India a lot in the last 10, 15 years has helped me to find more of who I am and make more sense of who I am and understand who I am better. Which again is funny because that's at odds with who I thought I was.
Yeah.
But again, she's dead.
Yeah, beautiful, yeah.
And yeah, I love being in India, and India has such an incredible, there's so much life, and there's so much interesting innovation happening, sustainability projects, humanitarian projects, and then of course there's the philosophy and the yoga and the meditation and the spiritual. And so I started taking people to India on retreats, and I think maybe the first one or two were quite standard yoga retreats, beach, did all the practices, and it really was an inner journey. And then I realized that I'd fallen a little bit outside of my own values, coming from this political campaigning activist background, and that I could bring those two things together. So now I take people to India, and there's a sense of pilgrimage, real connection, as well as doing the practices and being in a nice place. So for example, I have 2 retreats scheduled for next year. One is an experience where we'll go on a pilgrimage around Tamil Nadu, and we'll visit various temples and also really interesting social enterprise projects and innovative communities.
How's that a pilgrimage though? So when you...
Well, I think what makes it a pilgrimage is that you're going with an open heart.
Okay.
It's like a journey of the soul, rather than, I don't know what the other word would be, a tour.
Yeah. So rather than commercialising it, you go in and you're spiritually awake and alive to the potential of whatever's happening around you, inside and outside you, and connecting the two together.
Yeah, I think tourism has more of a thing of like, you're touring, you're outside of it, you're passing through. And a pilgrimage has more of a sense of you're becoming it. I suppose it's what we were talking about earlier, that all of those lines of difference melt away, and you become part of it. And so we'll visit various projects, communities, temples, beautiful nature. We'll climb a mountain that's known as Shiva in the form of a mountain. And then we'll go, and we're going to be at a really beautiful retreat centre that's actually been built to raise money for a foundation called the Dungari Foundation that are preserving, saving and creating education around Ayurvedic herbs in the Himalayas that are becoming endangered. And so we'll be in this really beautiful environment, eating really beautiful food, and kind of diving deeper into the practices. And then I have another one, a retreat. I mean, it's not really a retreat, it needs another name. In March, where we'll be going to Rishikesh, which is the kind of the birthplace of yoga. It's the river Ganga is there. And an incredible woman, Dwaba, who is on the podcast, she set up a children's home there. So we'll actually be in the children's home, playing with the kids, pretending that we're helping them whilst they're opening our hearts. And so we'll be there, and we'll be doing yoga and meditation and dancing and singing with the kids, and then we'll be, doing whatever they want us to do and helping out with whatever needs help in the building. And then we'll go up. They have a farm in the Himalayas, so we'll go up to the farm and we'll dig.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So that sounds like that's not quite, but like like when the Christians go and they used to flagellate themselves and go and and really strip themselves back to nature and really sort of reckonable acts of service in order, because actually the sense of pilgrimage for me is to retrace your steps. So like I can understand Muslims go back to Mecca or Medina, or Christians going back to Antioch or to Jerusalem and retracing the steps of the Christ or the Buddha or the Muhammad, and following their footsteps, in following the geographical footsteps, say the Passion of Christ, whatever it is, walking where he walked or whatever, that you would then try to connect with your spiritual sentient self there. And I think, imagine on that journey, like what you were just saying there, going with open hands, open heart, open mind, open spirit to give, and then finding in giving, however you determine that, you receive a lot more. That you, as you empty one pocket, you're filled up in the other pocket with whatever whatever you lack, whatever. So I understand that, but when I'm hearing about yours, Western people, I'm putting that in brackets or exclamation marks, are going to a culture that's not theirs, not their own. So, I mean, it's a whole new experience, but I'm trying to find well, it's a different use of the word pilgrim to me. As I said, do you get what I'm saying?
No, I totally do. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, India is, is my motherland. Like, it's the motherland, but it is actually the land of my mother and my mother's mother and my mother's mother and my father's, of course.
Yes.
And so it does have that feeling of a pilgrimage, but then I have friends that are born in England and they feel when they go to India a sense of home that they don't feel here.
Yeah.
So who am I to say who can go and who can't, or what a pilgrimage really is? Because I know that when I've been to sacred sites around the world, I've been to Jerusalem, for example.
Yeah.
Or I went to the pyramids. I felt something.
Yeah.
Something in my body, something in my heart, something in my soul opened. I mean, one way is that we don't know. If you believe in past lives and karma, we don't know who's from where, when.
Yeah.
And then, I guess on another level, if people want to come to India with me, then I'm a stepping stone because I am Western.
Yeah.
But there's an authenticity as well because I have
immersed yourself in India the last 10 years yourself, and you got.
But my whole
background.
family is from India,
Exactly.
so I have that ancestry. Yeah. But I know people that, for example, Dwaba, the woman who set up the children's home Ramina's Garden where we're going, she's been in India for a long time now, maybe 40 years, American originally. Yeah. And, it's her home. So I feel like we're at quite an interesting time where we don't all have very clear lineages anymore, or especially spiritual lineages that make sense. Mm-hmm. And also, the world is so globalized and traveled, and I've wondered if it's even ethical to keep traveling, but then so many economies depend on it. And something does happen when you meet another culture, when you meet people that have had a different kind of life than you, something opens up. And the more of us open up in that way, that seems like that is only for the good of a common human understanding. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. No, exactly. And whether you live in past life regressions and all that sort of stuff, or a collective consciousness, something you asked maybe about an hour ago. You choose. That's the great thing about being human beings. We get to choose. You can vibrate at any level, and you can choose because it belongs to all of us. You know, we cannibalize and colonialize things, thinking, oh, this is mine, I'm British, you know, I'm whatever, but actually it's ours. It's only our mind maps that make yours and mine. But actually, it was here before you came to be here, after you came. And it's an accident of history, but actually it's ours. And this gets into sort of thing, so I said, there's archetypes and all sorts of things like that, and who knows? So, I mean, your friend who, white, blonde hair, blue eyes, feels very connected to the soil of India, is as Indian as anybody else if she falls in love with it and embraces it and becomes it.
Absolutely. And how did you know that she had blonde hair and blue eyes?
There you go. You must be giving it to me. You must be giving it to me. Oh, is it really? Does she really?
She really does, yeah.
There you go.
And is that how you felt with the other things that you did? Like, did the army, did these things call you? Did athletics call you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Misha. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I made a decision to go and I wasn't quite sure. And Nietzsche talks, I love Nietzsche, he talks about life as a tight rope walker. And he talks about this tight rope walker, and you come out and the most important moment is the next step. And sometimes you only get revealed at this step. And he says, man is a bridge that must be overcome. Man is a bridge over an abyss. And yes, you've got all of these things that can be pulling you and pulling you down, but you've got to be faithful to that very next step. And yeah, when I did my athletics or joining the army, and the initial thing was the call to join the army. And I was faithful in that call to join the army. And the next step was the call to being one of the 400 that stays. And I was faithful to that, but I was equipped to be one of the 400. Mm-hmm. The next step was to meet Sergeant Mackenzie and to be called into athletics. And I was faithful to that calling. And I was equipped to do it. And that's exactly what, that's how it's always been. That eventually I step in and I realize, and what I find as well is that when I'm in something, the next thing emerges. So I was a soldier, and then the athletics emerged, and I was faithful to the call in athletics. And then also athletics took over everything. And then the TV emerged into my athletics, and I was faithful to the TV work, and the TV took over from my athletics. And then my business work emerged into the TV, and I was faithful to going around touring and speaking, and then my business career took off. And so it is very much like that, is that if you're faithful to the calling, and then when you are there, you bring what you got to what's emerging, and you find it takes off. And I think, I would say this, wouldn't I, that my calling to study existential psychotherapy, counselling and coaching is that next big thing that's going to grow in my life and flower and be my self-expression in that moment as that tightrope walker.
Beautiful. So we need to listen to our calls,
yeah,
and then we need to show up fully,
yeah,
in the present.
And play with those people that come up. The right people will come up into your life then. The right people will turn up. When you are in tune with that calling, you will know, because the right people turn up.
Yeah, I mean, that referendum didn't go very well, but because of that, we're sat here today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was dodgy, that referendum. We should have won that one by a landslide. They definitely should have won it by a landslide, yeah, but I wouldn't know you and I wouldn't be sitting here with you. And what a beautiful journey it is.
Absolutely.
It's great seeing you. You're doing beautiful. Your future is definitely beautiful, Amisha.
Thank you. Well, I hope that, and of all of our friends listening. Kriss, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you very much. And your website is?
www.akabusi.com, akabusi.com.
Brilliant. So you can check in with what Kriss is doing. We've just got a bit of Kriss TV presenter voice in there.
Exactly.
And we'll post links as well to all the other things that we've mentioned throughout this. And I look forward to our next conversation when I'm hanging out with Kriss the philosopher.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to it as well. And who knows where and how our paths may meet. But I look forward to it. It's going to be exciting, whatever it is.
At the Future is Beautiful Festival, most likely.
That would be lovely.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amisha.
Thank you for listening. As always, you can find links to everything we mentioned in this episode, download our book, and discover so much more over on the blog. We don't believe in selling you things you don't need through this podcast, and so it's made possible by you, our community. If you loved this and would like to contribute to our Patreon campaign or join our online group to connect with other listeners, please visit www.thefutureisbeautiful.co and click on community. Please also hit subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes so we can grow. Here is to us, creating a beautiful future together.